You're watching The Huddle here with Chris Walder, former Buck John Henson. Chris, you can always check out his work on oddshark.com, breaking down every game, most games, a lot of games, best analysis you'll find out there in the sports betting world. But right now, what we're going to do is bold predictions for the rest of this NBA season, mainly leading into 2025, because there's not going to be a whole lot of boldness going on for the rest of 2024. So, guys, I'm interested if these are going to be bold, if these are going to be spicy, if these are going to be hot takes. I'm really curious about it. Chris, you're up, bud.
All right, so I put two together because I want to alley myself up, and then I'm going to, throw up the lob, and then I'll throw down the dunk on my second one. So the first one may be a little bit tame, but again, I predicted this during our early season predictions in terms of awards and who's going to win the NBA championship. It may not seem like it right now, but I'm sticking with my initial pick. I think the New York Knicks are going to win the 2024-2025 NBA championship. And that's a bold prediction because they haven't won shit since 1973. So how about that? And the reason I'm so optimistic is because of the way that Karl Anthony Towns has acclimated himself to his new surroundings. He's playing some of the best basketball of his career. He's shooting the ball at a high clip, very efficient from three-point range. His rebounding is out of this world. And he was the one I was kind of a little bit worried about because New York had a good thing going. Jalen Brunson at the helm. He was Tom Thibodeau's guy. And then, of course, the relationship that Thibodeau and Cat had during their days in Minnesota. Would that carry over to New York? But right now, I think that team is completely stacked in the starting lineup. They have the worst second unit in basketball because they just continue to run their starters into the ground. But I think Mitchell Robinson's return, especially defensively, moves Cat over to the four. I think that's going to be a huge boon to their defense. Right now, it's kind of middle of the pack in the NBA. But in a 7-game series, I know a lot of people would take Boston, but right now, I think New York has what it takes to actually win it all come June. So I'm sticking with that pick. That's my first bold prediction. The New York Knicks are winning the NBA championship. But now to throw it down with an actual bold pick, LeBron James is not going to finish the season with the Los Angeles Lakers. I think that he is going to waive his no trade clause. I know a lot of, again, the talking heads that I mentioned earlier are saying that a trade with the Golden State Warriors could be in the cards. I think in the weeks and months ahead, I think we are going to start hearing rumblings of that even more so. I know LeBron just took a few days off. He may have been nursing some injuries, had some personal matters that he was attending to. But this relationship right now with the Lakers, I think is maybe it's always been strong, but I think it's maybe the most vulnerable that it's ever been. LeBron knows that his days in the league are kind of numbered. He has maybe one good season left in him because I don't think he wants to start looking washed up to the masses. He does want to remain in that GOAT conversation. He wants to go out with a bang. I think he will waive that no trade clause. I think the discussions with the Warriors will ensue. And whether or not it's this trade deadline or this summer or what have you, LeBron James will finish his career as a Golden State Warrior.
Not bad. Not bad. Gavin has a good point here. Package deal with Bronny.
Gavin, get out of here. We have a no Bronny rule here on the huddle. So we have to just kind of keep that on the down low, buddy. But again, I like where you're thinking. Maybe a change of scenery. But yeah, I think LeBron and Golden State just makes so much sense.
Our friends at BetMGM, their biggest liability for NBA Rookie of the Year is Bronny.
Yeah, didn't Golden State weren't the Lakers about to, or didn't they have a deal in place? And I think the Lakers they balked. They didn't want to give LeBron to Golden State, something like that last summer.
There were
I think there were some talks ensuing, but I think someone in the Lakers organization is going to realize that there really isn't a plan post LeBron. Right now, it would just be Anthony Davis and company, like Rui Hachimura and Austin Reeves and Dalton Connect. That would be a bottom feeder in the Western Conference. Like if you know LeBron, with him in tow, if the peak is just like getting into the first round through the play-in tournament and probably losing to Denver again, what exactly are you playing for rather than just acknowledging the end of LeBron's career, giving him a send-off in LA? Like Golden State's, like San Francisco is not that far from where he currently lives. It wouldn't be like he has to pick up his life and, go to the other side of the country. Like he'd be totally fine in that regard. And playing with the Warriors gives him his best chance at a ring. He's not going to accomplish anything in purple and gold.
Yeah, but going to Golden State isn't going to help LeBron. It's not going to help his legacy either. right? It's just going to give people more opportunity to shit all over him.
No, his legacy is cemented. He's one of the 2 greatest players in NBA history, and anyone who says otherwise is just being quote unquote a hater. Like his legacy is cemented. There's nothing he can do from now until the end of his career, which is going to change anybody's mind anyway.
And that would, I'll tell you what, that pick up some viewership. I'd watch. I'd tune in.
Yeah. You think the league wouldn't love that? You think Adam Silver isn't sitting in his chair praying to God that such a move happens? Because then, man, the eyeballs on the Warriors. I know it's a team that consumed all of our attention for like a good 5 to 6 years anyway, but this is not trading LeBron to the Warriors in 2014, 2015. Like, these are guys at the tail end of their careers. We just saw them in Paris, France dominate. Again, when I was talking about the 3 biggest stars in basketball, who are the 3 leading scorers for the United States in the Olympic Games? LeBron, Curry, and Durant.
What if he goes to Golden? What if this did happen? He goes to Golden State and they just fall apart and lose in the first round.
Not gonna happen. Golden State's already good.
Could happen.
Right. They're already good.
It could happen, but again, they would have to kind of gut the roster. Like, I mean, they're already looking to move Kuminga anyway. They have Andrew Wiggins' contract that would have to be added as well to make the financials work and what have you. But like, Golden State would be in a good position. The Lakers aren't doing anything anyway. If he goes to Golden State and it's a lateral move and they get bounced early anyway, at least he made the effort to say, look, I'm trying to win another ring.
So do you think LeBron would rather get traded to Golden State and win there, or have the Lakers make a deal, pick someone up, and win a title in LA?
They have nothing to give. They have no assets to make a substantial move. Everything else would just to be shore up the depth. That's it. But the Lakers aren't good enough. They have no defensive presence. Their 3rd best player is Dalton Connect or Austin Reeves on a good day. Like, I know the Trae Young trades were kind of being bantered about before, but they just don't have the resources to get him anymore. And Atlanta's not going to get rid of him anyway. So if the Lakers make a trade, it's not going to be like that big splash that they think is going to happen. They just don't have the options.
You have to get a 3rd team involved, but yeah. We'll see. John, you're up.
This will be pretty simple. I'm a what have you done for me lately type guy. I saw OKC last night. Let me get Memphis coming out of the West to go to the finals. That's my bold.
I like that.
They're flying under the radar. They're 2nd in the West. I think, Steve, you said at the beginning of the show they've won 10 out of their last 12. They're quietly rolling right now. And after what I saw from OKC last night, I'm even more bullish on this stance.
You know, it's funny, man, because I mean, it's very rare a team in the NBA that has an absolute mega superstar like John Morant can go on a heater like this and you hear nothing about them.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. They don't talk about them on the NBA show on ESPN. I barely hear a podcast talk about them. Their highlights aren't even out there. But this Grizzlies team, like when you get Jaren Jackson, that's one of the best 1-2s in the league.
And their cast the cast they have around the roster, like with Marcus Smart and they've got young guys. Even Edie coming back is going to help them. Gigi Jackson's out, who could help them as well. Huff is really good. Like Kennard, they've built a winner. They built a winning team. Even when their stars are out, like Bane and Morant are out, I always find myself looking at the scores like, Memphis won that game. Right, like they're always in it. So I like what they are doing right now, flying under the radar. December 29th, they're playing at OKC. That is going to be a barn burner. I can't wait to watch that because I know both of those teams see each other in the standings, and they're going to want to impose their will and kind of send a message.
Interesting. I'm going to write that one down for the 29th. Yeah, John Morant now, as we sit here right now, John Morant plus 15,000 to win MVP. And the Grizzlies plus 3,000 to win the NBA title. So did you take the Grizzlies to win the West or the NBA?
Win the West. We'll win the West.
Okay.
Win the
West.
I don't
baby steps.
Baby steps. But, I think they have a great chance. The West is kind of just jumbled from, I think, the 4th or 5th seed to the 12th seed is like 2 games. So the West is kind of just very mediocre right now.
All right, I'm going to give you my bold prediction in a second, but right now we have to grade your guys' bold predictions. So, Chris, how bold on the scale of 1 to 10, with bold being the boldest of all bold, how bold is John's take on the Memphis Grizzlies?
It's bold. I like it because, again, I'm still kind of living in the past with how decimated that roster was a season ago. Like the injury bug ran through them, and now that bug has kind of correlated over to New Orleans, and the Pelicans were getting decimated by the same injury bug. But I love that pick, man. Like, I mean, John Morant hasn't even been their best player this year. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been the best player on the Grizzlies, and they have so much depth on that team. It's insane. Like Jalen Wells has been a Rookie of the Year candidate. He's got good odds in that category. Luke Kennard, like you said, and they're still missing like some key bodies. Like they're one of those teams that a lot of the heavy hitters in the West, like the other heavy hitters, are just like dreading playing in a 7-game series. But they're also the type of team that, again, whether they want to admit it or not, the Adam Silvers and the executives of the league are saying, God, I hope they get bounced early, because again, we've been programmed to think that the small market teams just aren't viable as a television audience.
So 1 to 10, how bold is it? Give me a number.
I'd give it like a solid. I'll give it a 9. Like that's a bold take. Like Memphis hasn't been to the NBA Finals ever, so
you know
and to go from like 0 to hero, like that's a 9. That's a good 9.
I was coming in with an 8.6, so we're right on that same wavelength. All right, John, now we have to rank Chris's bold prediction. So LeBron not finishing this season with the Lakers. How bold do you want to give him? Is that bold? That
is definitely bold because he has a no trade clause. He's on a short deal. I think he's got 2 years left on the deal. So It's not like you're going to be getting him long term. And what do the Lakers have? I mean, they do give LeBron, but what do the Warriors have? Right? Like, do they have a wealth of riches? Because if you're going to give up the best player, arguably ever, it's probably going to come with a couple first rounders, a Kuminga, maybe a Podemski. Like, I mean, that would shake the landscape of the NBA. So I'm going to give that like an 8.5. Not ending the season on the Lakers. Whoo. I don't know, man. I don't know if he convinced him to draft his son to leave. I don't know. I think he'll sit. I think he'll sit and kind of reflect on the offseason and talk to the front office, talk to his people around him, and do his best for him in the offseason. But just to shift to the Warriors during the season, my God.
All right. I'll give you an 8.3, Chris. And I say that just because there's been so much talk of LeBron, and I've heard like Windhorst talk about it, and Shams Charania, you're talking about him a lot. So it might be a little level of immunity to it, where it's like, oh, this isn't as shocking to my brain as it should be because it's LeBron freaking James. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's you're right. That's an earth-shattering trade. All right, now your other one. What was it, Knicks to win the East or the title?
To win the title.
Knicks to win the title. You know what?
10. That's a 10. That's a 10.
I got to give you a 9.8.
Yeah, that's a 10.
Because 10's as bold as you can be bold, right? So I got to give you a 9.8.
Go 9.9. My bad. You're right.
I understood the assignment, gentlemen. Like I'm giving you bold. You asked for bold. Like I'm dropping heaters on you guys. The Knicks is NBA champions.
All right, fine. Here's the thing. Now it's my turn for a bold prediction. I see your Knicks as NBA champions. And you know what else I see? I see two of the most stubborn people in basketball having a little tiff right now. They're not getting along. They're so pig-headed and stubborn and egotistical in a good way. And they have so much drive and passion for what they do that they won't sit down and talk it out. I think the Godfather, Pat Riley, and Jimmy Butler sit down. They talk this thing out. They figure it out. The Miami Heat acquire pieces, and the Miami Heat will be your NBA champions this season. Yep.
Well,
Tyler Hero's going to turn into Klay Thompson. Bam Adebayo is going to go all world, just be that lead dog with Jimmy Butler. Terry Rozier is good. They're going to expose an absolute basketball sicko. He's going to figure out how to make this Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson thing work. And if they have to trade one of them, whoever they get for them is going to be the piece that they need to get there. So they can go into Boston and win. They've got the confidence to do it, and that's the first thing you need. And they've got the confidence going to beat Milwaukee.
They did just throttle the Cavs, but that was more of a scheduled win than anything. But I can't see that happening. I mean,
there's zero chance of that happening.
There's even go out and say that Jimmy Butler won't be on this team at the end of the season, right? Like he's kind of quietly put out his teams he wants to go to. his agent comes out and says, "Hey, I'm tired of Shams lying," and Shams is like double down, like, "No, this is a real thing. Don't try to gaslight me." So it's some drama going over there. I mean, I don't think the championship is way out of their view.
No, it's the thing. Like, that's why I say Riley and Butler are going to sit down. They're going to have a glass of wine. Maybe Jimmy shows up and gives them a big cup of coffee, from his brand of coffee he's got, and they're going to yell at each other. They're going to throw their drinks against the wall, and they're going to figure this thing out because they're both too stubborn in their way and set in their way. Pardon me, that they have to figure this out because it's a legacy changing move if they can win a title in Miami.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's
Why don't you just say the Raptors are going to win a championship this year? Yeah. That's just as viable a pick as you saying the Heat are going to win it.
Chris, I'm trying to be realistic here, okay?